Well, Nadine Dorries joins us now. Good morning to you, and Nadine, thank you very much for getting up to speak to us this morning. I see that you tweeted last night saying that you've contacted the Chief Whip and asked that Osborne's conference pass be withdrawn for expressing a desire to see a woman, the Prime Minister, murdered. I don't think anybody believes that George Osborne actually does want that to happen, and we have to point out saying that this is just reported comments from George Osborne, but clearly you feel that those comments, reported or not, have gone far too far.
Well, it's not just that one isolated comment, it's a number of comments taken in context. He's had on the front of the Evening Standard that she's a dead woman walking. He's described her as the living dead. The latest alleged comments are that he wants to see her murdered, dismembered and lying in his freezer. I think when you put all those comments together, there's something deeply disturbing about them. And I know if you'd said them about one of your presenters, you would not be on your sofa this morning. And I know if a member of the public said them, they'd probably be receiving a knock on the door from the police. I just think it's gone too far. And I know most of my colleagues do. This has now gone too far. It's slightly disturbing. And I don't think it's appropriate, and I know many MPs don't think it's appropriate, that he should have a pass to conference. You know, almost every day in Britain, women suffer violence at the hands of men. Words become deeds, become somebody else's actions. Normalising this type of dialogue, this discourse, particularly in public life, has consequences, and it's not appropriate.
But undoubtedly, there are areas and sort of work environments where this wouldn't be acceptable, and the suggestions of what he said aren't in real life acceptable, of course. But the world of politics is a very different world. It's a world that you've lived and breathed for many, many years now. And people will be saying this morning, look, it's just part of the rough and tumble of our political environment, and if the Prime Minister can't put up with that sort of thing, then she shouldn't be in the position that she's in.
And he said it in private,
yeah,
if at all.
And he said it in what, sorry?
If he said it at all, which of course he hasn't confirmed, nor indeed denied saying it, he said it in private. Does that make a difference to you?
Well, actually, some of the comments he makes are actually on the front of the Evening Standard, and I think the interesting thing about this is George Osborne has now been asked 48 hours ago to deny that he said these comments, and people close to him, who are now rapidly disappearing, are being asked to deny that he said those comments, and there are no denials. So I think we can shelve the fact that maybe because they were said in private or because they were said without verification that they weren't said. I believe they probably were. But, you know, it's the comment that we should expect this in public life is absolutely wrong. People look to public life. They look to the way MPs behave. People are in positions of power to see what is the appropriate way to behave. Yes, of course, we have the rough and tumble in politics. It is a dirty game, but that doesn't matter. We should set the standards which others want to follow. And I'm afraid that particular comment, wanting to see a woman murdered, dismembered in his freezer, that is a step too far.
So, Nadine, it's no secret as well that you haven't always been in agreement with George Osborne. You crossed over details to do with counselling surrounding abortion. And at the time you said, nobody wrongs me and doesn't pay for it. So have you tried to seek revenge on him? What did you mean by those comments?
Well, my revenge was that I called him and David Cameron a pair of posh boys. And I think there is an absolute gulf between my revenge and the persistent, continuous, daily revenge he is trying to wreak on Theresa May. You know, this isn't just an odd comment. He is doing this daily. It's the front of the Evening Standard, almost daily opinion pieces, commentary, front page headlines. It's personal comments that we hear he's saying, well, not so personal, in public in the office of the Evening Standard. His pattern of behaviour towards Theresa May, which is sustained on a daily basis, is not what anybody else would recognise as revenge. And, you know, what did she do that he's finding this revenge for, seeking this revenge for? He was sacked from a job that some would say he wasn't particularly good at. Well, you know, in politics, we are hired and we are fired every day. We are hired and fired by the electorate once every 5 years. Again, what I'm trying to point out is there is a disproportionate gulf between what he's saying and what is the reality.
Nadine, thank you very much for joining us this morning. I do appreciate you getting up early to offer us your opinion. That's Nadine Dorries there.